Former President Olusegun Obasanjo has revealed how the late former American ambassador in Nigeria, Walter Carrington, offered him political asylum in the United States in 1995 while General Sani Abacha was in power. Obasanjo disclosed that he turned down the asylum offer despite its tempting and assuring details. He said during Carrington's tenure, the late envoy helped Nigeria in easing the move to democratic rule, which had run for over a decade. The Oru-born leader said that at that time, the country went through a culture of arbitrariness, flagrant abuse of human rights, and disdain for the rule of law. Obasanjo gave the account today in a condolence letter to the late ambassador's wife, Mrs. Arese Carrington. The former Nigerian leader said Carrington was one of the responsible, mature, and respected voices that took Nigeria out of an unwholesome situation. He listed this as permanent crisis, threats of disintegration, prolonged the void of democracy, and a plundered economy. Former Vice Chancellor, University of Nigeria, Nsukka, Professor Benjamin Chukwuma Ozumba, has thrown his support behind the call for Malam Mamandaura that competence and meritocracy should be placed above every other thing regarding the choice of Nigeria's president in 2023. He noted that the call was apt and timely. In a statement he issued and made available to journalists in Kaduna, Ozumba said most Nigerians would have wished that Mr. Daura made this position known much earlier than now, adding that this would have been helpful in shaping the national political landscape and setting the tone for a more stable, egalitarian, peaceful, and progressive Nigerian nation. The former vice chancellor observed that with the benefit of hindsight, it would not be wrong to aver that what has failed the nation for more than 4 decades is not rotation, but Nigeria's inability as a nation to enthrone merit and competence in the rotational leadership. Professor Chukwuma Ozumba explained that as an elder statesman of repute, Malam Mamandaura must have realized that mediocre leadership has failed Nigeria and has become the bane of national development. He added that many political pundits interpreted this to mean that Mamandaura, who is President Muhammadu Buhari's nephew, is in favor of competence or merit instead of zoning or rotating the presidency. Professor Chukwuma Ozumba said that close associates of Malam Mamandaura would not mind if a post-Buhari president comes from the south or the north, provided emphasis shifts from the tribe or region to the competence of the leader. As precautionary measures to improve cybersecurity, the federal government has upgraded the digital center to counter threats in the country. The Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Issa Pantami, who spoke during the commissioning of the center today in Abuja, reiterated the commitment of President Muhammadu Buhari to tackle insecurity. He said the federal government is making efforts to reduce the incident of cyber attacks on Nigeria following the upgrade of the Computer Emergency Response and Readiness Team built by the National Information Technology Development Agency. Pantami explained that the upgrade is in alignment with the 3 priority areas of President Buhari, which is to promote security. The minister said the project will go a long way in complementing the efforts of the administration in tackling the high wave of insecurity in the country and put the economy on a better footing. The minority caucus in the House of Representatives has rejected the 30 job slot allotted to each member of the House for their respective local government areas in the recruitment exercise for the federal government's public works scheme. The minority leader of the House, Ndudi Elumelu, in a statement issued today, described the allotment of 30 out of the 1,000 slots per local government to each member of the House as grossly unfair and unacceptable by Nigerians and the lawmakers who are the true representatives of the people. The statement was titled 774,000 Jobs. Reps Minority Caucus rejects 30 slots for members. The National Assembly and the Minister of State for Labor, Employment and Productivity, Festus Keyamo, had clashed over the scheme. Political office holders had been allotted 15% of the slots in the program designed to employ 1,000 artisans from each of the 774 local government areas of the country. The scheme had been allotted 52 billion naira in the 2020 budget. The beneficiaries are to work for 3 months between October and December, with each of them earning 20,000 naira monthly. The minority caucus of the House, however, alleged that the formula used is in favor of certain interests in the ruling All Progressives Congress at the detriment and disadvantage of majority of Nigerians. The caucus therefore demanded more transparency and consultation in the implementation of the 774,000 public works jobs. The caucus urged President Muhammadu Buhari to immediately order a review of the implementation process to ensure that the targeted citizens benefit from the program as intended. You are listening to Timsed National News, coming to you from Timsed 94.1 FM, transmitting from Iliaju, Okeagboja, Ijebujesha in the state of Oshu, Nigeria. You can watch us live and direct on YouTube and Facebook. You can also listen to us globally on Radio Garden. Download Timsed app on Google Play Store. You're welcome back. The Diocese of Evo, Anglican Communion in Rivers State today, condemned the incessant killings in southern Kaduna. The diocese issued the condemnation in a communique jointly issued by the Bishop of the Diocese, Reverend Innocent Odu, and its Chancellor, Mr. Lero Mamadi, at the end of the 2020 Synod in Port Harcourt. The communique released by the diocesan communicator, Dr. Josie Nwokocha, called on the federal government to end the killings and restore the sanctity of life, and also appealed to the international community to help. Governor Nasir El-Rufai of Kaduna State has claimed that southern Kaduna leaders accusing him of being inactive over the incessant killings wants brown envelopes. The communique condemned the many vices plaguing the country and called on authorities to unite the country. The Synod also asked President Muhammadu Buhari to immediately freeze the accounts of NDDC and carry out a total overhaul of both the Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs and the NDDC. The Kogi state government has repatriated 78 beggars and the mentally derailed to 5 northern states in the country. They were repatriated to Katsina, Kaduna, Kano, Bauchi, and Zamfara states, according to the Kogi state government. Addressing journalists today, the Kogi State Commissioner for Women Affairs and Social Development, Ajia Fatima Kabir Buba, said they were evacuated from different parts of Lokoja metropolis, which include Old Market, Zango, Ganaja Village, and Obasanjo Square. The commissioner noted that the evacuation was not done to discriminate, but to rid the streets of beggars roaming the state capital. She assured that the state government, under the leadership of Yahaya Bello, will not relent in its efforts in getting beggars off the streets. Oyo State government has announced the discharge of 73 COVID-19 patients. The patients were discharged yesterday after receiving their second negative test results. Confirming the development, Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde said the state now has 2,967 confirmed cases of the virus and 1,654 have been discharged. The Nigerian Guild of Editors, NGE, has expressed shock about the death of one of its former president, Malam Wada Maida. Maida died in his home in Abuja yesterday at the age of 70. A statement jointly signed by NGE President Mustafa Isa and General Secretary Mary Atolagbe noted That Maida was, until his death, chairman of the board of directors of the News Agency of Nigeria and a member of the executive board of the International Press Institute. He was also the chairman of People's Media Limited, publishers of People's Daily newspaper. The statement added that the accomplished journalist served as the chief press secretary to then head of state Muhammadu Buhari between December 31, 1983 and August 26, 1985. Internet personality Ismaila Mustafa, alias Mofa, who is facing money laundering charges, has asked the Federal High Court in Lagos to compel the anti-graft agency to pay him 5 million naira for what he termed his unlawful rearrest and detention. Journalists have reported that Mofa, who is answering 32 billion naira fraud charges, was rearrested last Friday when he went to the EFCC office in Ikoyi, Lagos, to reclaim his 5 wristwatches, 1 Apple AirPod, 1 iPhone, 8 mobile phones, and 1 pair of sunglasses seized from him by the anti-graft agency since last year. The visit followed a July 24 ruling by Justice Mohammed Liman ordering the release of the seized items on the grounds that EFCC did not list them as exhibits in court. In the suit filed by his lawyer, Mr. Gboyega Oyewole, SAN, today, Mofa prayed the court to declare that his rearrest and detention by the EFCC was unjustifiable and unlawful. He is equally urging the court to declare that the continued seizure of the items violated his right to own property under Section 44 of the Constitution. He is praying the court to order the EFCC not only to free him, but also to give him back the seized items and pay him 5 million naira damages. The litigation officer in the office of his lawyer, Kayode Adeboye, contended that Mofa's arrest was baseless because he had been granted bail by the court and he never absconded. According to Adeboye, in line with the bail conditions, Mofa had been reporting at the EFCC office fortnightly without defaulting. But the spokesman for the EFCC, Mr. Dele Oyewale, said Mofa's rearrest was connected to a fresh set of cyber fraud charges. The court has yet to fix a date to hear Mofa's 5 million naira suit. The Supreme Court for Sharia in Nigeria has urged Kano State government to execute the court judgment that found a singer guilty of blasphemy. In a statement signed by its Secretary General Nafiu Baba Ahmed today in Kaduna, the Sharia Council said executing the judgment will serve as a deterrent to others. It berated those advocating pardon for the convict and advised the Kano State government not to be swayed by their plea. A Kano Upper Sharia court on August 10 sentenced one Sharif Yahya Sharifai to death by stoning for blasphemy against Prophet Muhammad as provided under Kano State Sharia law. An upper area court sitting in Kashuan Nama in Jos today sentenced a 30-year-old teacher, Thomas Joshua, to 28 months imprisonment for stealing 28,000 naira. The judge, Malam Lawal Suleiman, sentenced Joshua after he pleaded guilty to breach of trust and theft. Delivering judgment on the first count of theft, Suleiman, however, gave the convict an option of 10,000 naira fine on each count. He also ordered the convict to pay 10,000 naira as compensation to the complainant, Mr. Ibrahim Seidu. Suleiman said the sentence will serve as a deterrent to those who might want to indulge in such criminal acts of stealing. Earlier, the prosecutor, Sergeant Ibrahim Gotwak, told the court that the case was reported at the Mr. Ali police station on August 16 by Seidu. Gokwak said that Joshua was given a phone to keep by the complainant, but he removed the SIM card and withdrew 28,000 naira from the complainant's bank account without his consent. The prosecutor said that the offense committed was contrary to the provisions of sections 297 and 272 of the Penal Code of Plateau State. To end Timsaid National News, here again are the highlights. President Muhammadu Buhari receives former President Goodluck Jonathan at State House, Abuja. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo reveals how late Walter Carrington offers him political asylum in United States in 1995. Federal government upgrades digital center to counter security threats in Nigeria. Kogi state government repatriates 78 beggars to 5 northern states. Oyo state government discharges 73 COVID-19 patients. Nigerian Guild of Editors mourn its former president, Wada Maida. Court sentences 30-year-old teacher to 28 months imprisonment for stealing 28,000 naira. That ends the national news, read by Ifeoluwa, Olaoye, and edited by Afolabi Koka. Thanks for listening. Good evening.
Are you ready? Question, tell me what you think about me.
All day long. Throw your hands in the air if you's a true player.
In the mix.
This is our request, Mr.